Are you looking to start a business but don't have any money? Tonight we are talking about how to start a business with limited resources. You don't want to miss it.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts now.
Everyone, good evening and welcome to the Better Your Business Show. I'm Natalie Essman, your host and the fabulous coach for business, Ms. Shanna Mavis.
Hello.
Hello.
You ready for this?
I'm ready for this. I'm very much looking forward to this conversation, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah, I am too. I was talking to someone today. I was on Alignable earlier. And there was a business owner that was saying, hey, I'm challenged with this. I'm having a problem with this. And so I'm just like, have you tried this? And Carlton would be so happy because I was like, have you done a value proposition canvas? Have you, check this out, try that because you need to better understand, just da-da-da. And so someone else reached out to me and they're like, looks like we should probably connect. Can we talk? Because I've done this. I've transitioned from there. I was like, talking about business is literally one of my favorite things to do. So bring it. I'm ready to brainstorm. You can just find me on Calendly, do whatever you got to do. Let's talk about this. Let's figure it out because I want to help you grow if I can. If we're connected, let's see what we can do. And if I can't help you, I promise you, I know someone who can. So I'm super excited because this person that we have on tonight is one of the reasons that I know as much as I know. He's walked with me through a lot of the questions I had for my program, for my business. We're all knowledgeable in our own rights, but it's really looking at it saying, okay, can you help me understand this a little bit better? Because this is something I've never done before. And so Pat actually walked with me and provided resources for me. So I'm there to do the same thing for anyone else that I run into.
Yeah, there's so much power in association and it's different. We can look stuff up online or read stuff or whatever, but when you get to be kneecap to kneecap with someone that's doing it and they're walking you through it, it's just completely different. I love it that you got to have that time with him.
Oh yeah. And we were talking about this before the show, but one of the resources that he mentioned, he provided it to me because we had a few sessions. We're just talking through. I have questions, he has answers, but then he's like, fill this out, go through this. If you have any questions, reach out to me, but this is going to help you. And it literally opened my eyes because I didn't realize how much time I was committing to spending, on this program. I looked at it and said, oh, okay, it's a group program. I can price it a little bit less because we've got more people in there. So I know that I'm covered. But I didn't realize the extent of the amount of time that I needed to invest in this program and, adjust. It caused me to really adjust my thinking about it. And I'm still able to offer it at a much lower rate because it's still group. But now I understand. I can see, more clearly all of the things that I'm committing to and make sure that I did have to make some tweaks, mind you, as a result of this. But I lengthened the program. There's so much wisdom in what he had to say to me. So I'm excited for everyone to learn from him tonight.
All right. Well, let's bring him in. Then we have Pat Meehan. He is the COO of Tech Resource Center. Hey, Pat.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Thank you for
Thanks
joining
for having
us.
me. Thank you for having me.
I have been waiting to have you on here. Like, I know there's so much that you could talk about. And then I was like, okay, we've got 12 episodes. Pick one, basically, because you're so knowledgeable in various areas of business. And Natalie, one of the things we didn't talk about before the show started was Pat also volunteers at SCORE. So he's given back so much. It wasn't just me. there are so many people that get the benefit of his wisdom because they're business owners, and he has this heart to serve. So just an amazing, amazing person.
Thank you for that, those kind words.
All well deserved, Pat.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Natalie, you want to
So
go
I know
first?
that we were able to have some time with you. Oh, sure. Yeah. I know we were able to have some time with you before the show and hear a little bit about your story. Can we just recap on that?
Sure. So where do you want me to start? Where I started in business, or I think, okay, all right. So I came out of college basically as a clinical engineer. So went to work in the clinical engineering world.
Did I
And
lose
then,
everybody or did everybody lose me? Carlton, are you
We-
there?
We lost you, but
yeah, you were a little frozen there for a minute.
go ahead, Pat.
Anyway, along that journey, I met a really unique guy who became my business mentor and sort of taught me all about business, and how to grow a business and what P&Ls look like and what all the intricacies of businesses are about. And it really enabled me to take a wonderful journey and create my own clinical engineering company, and then take that company national, and then sell the company about 8 years ago. It was really the best ride of my life. I loved every second of it. And now I work in a company my wife actually founded. She was my HR director, did some real creative leadership development and communication development for my team, that became so popular. She actually spun it off into the Tech Resource Center. And when I sold the clinical engineering company, I became sort of passionate about paying it forward and working with business owners, to help them. I always refer to it as to help them avoid the sprained ankles that I got along the way. So I do it, as you say, I do it for SCORE. I do it as a business. I love every second of it. It's a great journey. Entrepreneurship. There's no better way to make a living. Some stress, but definitely a lot of fun. A lot of fun if you take the time to enjoy it.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things that we were talking about. I made it a point to ask you that question if you started your business with limited resources, because people want to learn from people who have been where they are, and the fact that you have it, makes it so much better because you went from limited resources where many of us start out, and then you grew your business and sold it, for a significant profit there, which is amazing. And that's what many people want to do, or a lot of people want to do.
The American dream, no doubt.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about, I guess it's looking at the failures in business. You mentioned the statistics that there's a high percent of people who start a business, and if it fails within the first 5 years, there's an overwhelming cause. We've identified that there's a challenge there. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So I think it's no surprise to anybody that a high percentage of businesses fail within that first year, 5 years of their existence in business. And the number one cause for that is that they underestimate the amount of tolerance they have for lack of cash flow, right? How much is it going to cost me to start the business? And how much tolerance do I have personally for a lower or lack of income while the business grows, right? The only way to really understand that is you talked about it before. I gave you a sort of a workbook to sort of model your business and decide, here's what it's really going to cost me from a cash flow standpoint to get the business up, running, going, and operating. And here's how long it's going to take for that business to break even. First and foremost, you need to understand what that is before you even think about talking about funding or where I'm going to get the cash flow from to get the business started. You need to identify clearly and concisely how the model works and what the dollars and cents going in and out of your business will look like within the first 3 months, 5 months, 6, 10, 12, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. Businesses, all sorts of different businesses break even sooner rather than later, or later rather than sooner, depending on what kind of business it is, right? Whether it has a high inventory cost or low inventory cost, or sometimes there's There's no cost at all for running the business outside of marketing, which is something people tend to forget about. Marketing, there's a cost for marketing. It is what it is. You got to account for it. I like to say, if no one knows who you are, there will be no business, right? So it's a big, big, beautiful world out there, but you've got to get the word out. You can't just create a Facebook account and a LinkedIn account and say, I'm here, right? It doesn't happen that magically. So
it would be great if it did.
it would be.
And unfortunately, that is what it feels like a lot of business owners do, is rely heavily on, I've got a presence on social media and I'm posting continuously, or I feel like I'm doing all of the things, but not consistently necessarily, not with any real planning or thought, or, yeah, there's so many challenges with that. So it's not even just about social media. It's making sure that you're on the right platform, making sure that you know where your audience is, how they want to be spoken to, that you really understand the value that you offer to them, and being able to articulate that.
Yeah, I call that a market dominating position, right? So it's, what is my message to my particular niche of the world, and how am I going to differentiate myself from everybody else? I 100% of the time tell the story of Domino's Pizza. Domino's Pizza is, probably, being a New Yorker, Domino's Pizza is the worst pizza I've ever eaten. Yet Domino's Pizza is a $17 billion pizza company, right? So that's a lot of dollars for a pizza company. What did they do? They don't have fancy restaurants. They don't have fancy storefronts. They focused in on a very thin slice of the market, the guy who wants his pizza now because he's starving, right? They started with colleges, then they went to high schools and other academia kind of places. Now you can drop a pin on your phone, and they'll bring the pizza to you. They dominate the pizza market, which is a market most people would say, I'm not sure it's a Me Too market. I don't really want to be in it. But a $17 billion, very profitable public company, I'd take it all day long, every day, right? So when you're talking about who you are, it's more about your message. And most people, so you say, I've got social media profiles and the like, but some people will spend a lot of money with marketing companies and let the marketing company become the voice, right? Where, hey, they're going to make up the messaging. They're going to put it together for me. Absolutely not. That's a showstopper, right? You are you are the CEO, you are the business owner. You need to have your voice to your customer. Don't let anybody make it up for you. You can spend lots of money on marketing and get zero results if you don't do it right. So you really need to figure that out. And that comes back to the planning process, right? Who's my customer? Don't try and sell everything to everybody all at once, right? A lot of people are like, oh, everybody. Well, I'm going to market across the US. Focus in on where it's important. Get the messaging right, get it working well, and then you can always expand geographically or in business verticals, or whatever the case may be. But get that message fine-tuned and well put out there and well connected with two things, right? The problem your customer's having that they don't want, and the solution, your solution, that they want but they don't have. You need to answer both of those, and when you can, now you can go out and speak to your customer and get good conversion on it.
Love it.
Yes, that's so good. I'm sorry I missed the first stuff that you guys were talking about. I'm bummed about that. Something that I was wondering was underestimating how much money they need. I think it was
right.
Yeah. Most people are underestimating that. So how do they get a better handle on that?
Yeah, it goes back to creating that model, right? So there's three things you can control in your income statement, right? There's gross revenue. When gross revenue is a predictor of sorts, you've got to then tie that back to how many customers do I need? How many leads become, the customers need to be responded to? How many proposals? How many meetings? Whatever. Sales is a number-based thing, right? It's everything trickles down from the marketing, which is really getting the lead into the sales process to the closing process, right? It's everything. You wish every lead that came in closed. It's just not the case, right? It's usually a very small percentage of those. So you can control revenue, you can control cost of goods, and you can control G&A expense, or your expenses outside of cost of goods. So what you need to do is you need to build that model for your company, and you can then predict based on growth, that your growth is an assumption, but you can predict what my cash flow out of pocket is going to be based on that model. And I like to use, you go to QuickBooks, or you go to whatever accounting software you're using, and they give you P&Ls that sort of run. I like to put percentages on the right-hand side. Everything is a percentage of revenue. Cost of goods is a percentage of revenue. GP is a percentage of revenue. G&A expense, payroll, everything. And what you'll find over time is that your model may be off a little bit, or maybe it's you've underestimated or overestimated some things, but eventually you're going to get that formula right. And now you'll be able to look at a P&L instantly and say, okay, well, you know what? My cost of goods is higher than it should be. I wonder what happened. And you can go in and look and quickly correct what the issues might be. So creating that pro forma is really how you start. Then once you know what that is, you can create strategies for funding. But you need to know, what that model looks like before you even know how much it's going to cost you. That makes sense?
Yeah,
it does. So the pro forma, it's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. Look, you've got to account for startup costs, right? So startup costs are those costs that happen before you get out of the gate, right? You might need a website. You might need some pre-launch marketing. You might need some pre-launch database building. You might need some pre-launch inventory. If you're a brick and mortar kind of group, you might need some pre-launch construction or lease costs. So that's sort of pre-start of business. And usually you can either take that out of pocket or fund it in some other way, which we can talk about in a minute, but you've got to pay that off over time somehow. So that becomes a line item in your G&A, or your gross general administrative expense, where you're paying back a loan, or you're just paying yourself back, or whatever the case may be. But the pro forma is pretty simple. It's pretty basic. It's predicting sales, understanding what cost of goods are as a percentage of revenue, right? And ultimately what my gross profit needs to be. So if I sell something for $100 and it costs me $50, I've got a 50% gross profit, right? I make $50. Now your G&A expense, if you're going to break even, needs to be no more than $50, right? And obviously that doesn't happen day one, but that's the model you need to sort of build, and you need to understand every business is different. So a bakery might have a GP of somewhere in the 30s, right? A clinical engineering company I ran had a GP in the 50s, 55, 52, but we had a lot of G&A expense below. And then what's my net profit going to be? And I always tell my clients that you need to consider your income, right? These people who tell you, oh, you're not going to make any money for the first 3 years, and that's poppycock in my mind. You're in business to make money. Yes.
Yeah.
You're going to take some of that money and reinvest it perhaps, but your time is valuable, and you need to account for that time, because eventually you're going to pay somebody for that time. So, you need to account for that. I see people all the time come to me and say, hey, my business is profitable, but I can't afford to pay myself. Like, what? What do you mean? It's not profitable. It's just not profitable. So, understanding there's some cash flow and profit and loss are pretty interesting, right? A lot of people think they're the same. They're not. They're just not. So it's you really, really, really need to understand that.
So I have a friend that started an e-commerce business, and he put a lot of money onto the front end. He actually started it twice. He had started it probably about a decade ago. Didn't really come into fruition at all. Did it again this time, put a lot of money into it, and never really made any sales. A big part of it was trying to do all the online stuff that everyone tells you to do, ads on social media, all that stuff. Now, when I'm listening to you speak, it almost seems like what he should have done differently would be how you were talking about that front end system stuff, like getting email campaigns together, or, just so he'd have more people he knows to market to, or like, is that the types of scenarios where you use those systems or structures?
So, yeah. So I love e-commerce. E-commerce is a funny thing because a lot of people are like, oh, e-commerce is the way. It creates a passive income. I can walk away and this thing's just going to keep paying me over and over again. And in some respects, yes, when you get there, right? But
Right.
getting there is the trick. So there are so many e-commerce companies that are selling complementary products, for example, that you can combine up with and reduce your marketing cost to a very, very small amount and begin to chug along that way, and then break off once you create a cash flow to maybe get bigger, whatever your ultimate vision for your e-commerce site is. Getting well known on e-commerce is expensive. Most people in their pro forma are like, it'll be $250 a month or $300 a month for SEO. That's a fraction of what it really will cost you to get it going. People need to build a following, and you need to have product differentiation. There's so much. I mean, obviously Amazon is the monster out there, right? But they did it a very different way. If you think about the Amazon model, right? Amazon really didn't originally sell anything. All they did was have other people put their products on their site and they took a percentage of it, right? Bezos was a genius. I mean, that was back before e-commerce really existed, but he saw the writing on the wall and he created a strategy to get to market that was quite unique. So your friend who, very common, your friend who said, yeah, I've spent all this money and I really never got any sales going, is because they didn't take the time to put the strategy together. So you do the pro forma, you understand what your cash flow is, but now you're going to understand what my go-to-market strategy is. I got to create a roadmap that says I need to do the following things and I need to do them effectively and differently than my competitor in order to stand out and be that unique. You're trying to be that market dominating person, that market dominating position, different than everyone else, which causes people to come see you. I mean, how many influencers are out there that are, but they're really not. There's no product, there's no service. They're just funny. They're making YouTube videos and they're making lots of cash because they're funny people, So, but they're unique, right? They're unique. There's people who want to be influencers that are trying to do the same thing as the other guy, the copycats, if you will. Spend the time to become unique. Don't just buy some mugs and say, I'm going to go on Etsy and I'm going to sell them the same as every other person out there, right? I had a guy who did t-shirts. Now, t-shirts, there couldn't be more of a commodity out there than t-shirts, right? But he came up with a product differentiator of putting spiritual sayings on the back of the t-shirts and then marketing the t-shirts specifically to spiritual organizations, churches, Bible clubs, all these kinds of things. Boom. Nobody else was doing it. It's a t-shirt. It's the same as everybody else's t-shirt. But it was a product differentiator, right? So this is what you want to sit down and think about as you're starting to launch that business. You want to be a little different. When I ran the clinical engineering company, we were competing with huge organizations, GE, Aramark, Rockwell. We couldn't compete with them. So we had to find a niche. It was a small vertical in there of community-based hospitals that were later bought up by IDNs, and we became a force in the marketplace by doing it. But it took us a while to find our way. But you've constantly got to think about strategy. And most people think about strategy and say, "Oh my God, that's too hard for me." It's really not that hard. It's really it's a simple thing. There's an online thing we have on our website called the Business Roadmap. You click it, it asks you a bunch of questions, and it comes up with a to-do list for you. That's a strategy, right? It requires a lot of thinking and planning and talking to other people, but you just got to find. You'll know it when you find it. Business coaches like Shanna or whatever, they help you, because what they help you do is they help you think through it. They're not emotionally attached to your product or your service or whatever it is, and they're saying they can as we did, really sort of say, well, did you ever think about this? And you hang up or you put down the video call and you're like, you know what? Did I ever think about that? Let me think about that. So, having somebody, I had a mentor, couldn't have done it without him. It's a really important, powerful thing, whether you pay for it or whether you find somebody who does it free or whatever you do. It's a really good thing, because business as that entrepreneur, the owner, pretty lonely. There's no doubt about it. lonely and you talk to yourself, and you really do talk to yourself. You know, and my wife would be like, "What are you doing in there?" I'm like, nothing.
Having a staff meeting.
Well, I'm almost tempted to skip the next segment. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna skip. We've got Just Good Business. We'll bring it back next week. I promise. Because there's so much that you're talking about. We're talking about how to start your business with limited resources, and what I'm hearing you say is planning. Is planning, and there are tools and resources out there available for you.
Yeah.
So, but it does require you to think about things. And I feel like a lot of business owners, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Pat, but I feel like a lot of business owners are daunted. That math is daunting, right? That there's some sort of like block that happens because you look at this spreadsheet and you're just like, where do I start? I have no clue. So do you have any suggestions for people as they're trying to walk through this planning process?
Yeah. What I would say is, I tell some people when they're looking to start a business, have you worked in the field first, right? People, and you'd be surprised how many people say no, never have. Go take a part-time job with somebody who does it for a living and live in it and muck around in it a little bit. If you can't do that, then research. Tools like the one that we shared are very helpful because you've got to fill in the blanks, right? And if you don't have the blank filled in, it says to you, hey, I've got to go look for it so that I can fill in the blank, right? So having some sort of a business plan, there's a website out there called Live Plan, which is pretty good. There's a number of resources that they literally ask you the questions so that, if you can't answer it, you've got to stop and you got to find the answer. You find it online, you find it by asking somebody else who's in business. A lot of business owners, I tell them, well, go find out what the pricing looks like out there. And they're like, well, how am I going to do that? Call one of the people who are doing it and ready and ask them how much. It's like, well, isn't that unethical? I'm like, no, it's not unethical at all. You could be a consumer saying, I want to get new roof. How much does a roof cost? And they'll tell you and they'll share the information with you. And now you're like, okay, I know the average size of a roof and I know what the average size cost. And now I know I need to be in there somewhere. And, the thing I'll add to that though is always sell value, don't sell price, because if you try to, hey, I'm going to be the cheaper guy. I literally had a conversation with someone this morning who changed his pricing model from like $100 and some odd for it to $2,000 some odd a year plus $20 a month. And he's selling more of the product now because people now are saying, well, that must be valuable. I want to look at it. I want to check it out. If you try to come in too dirt cheap, they're going to think, I literally had a customer who said, we throw out the high price, we throw out the low price, and we work with everybody in the middle. So, but getting back to your question, the planning is really about answering the questions, answering the key questions. What do my cost of goods look like? What does a customer average sale look like? When I sell something to a customer, is it $100 per customer, 1,000, 10,000? What is it? How many marketing dollars do I need to spend to get that $10,000 customer? And you just sort of putting the math together until you get it all sort of mapped out and figured out. And then, then you'll know what the cash requirement for the business is. And now you can create a strategy to go after that cash requirement. You can do joint ventures with folks. You can do a number of different things that allow you to sort of team up a little bit. You can do another piece, an easier to get piece of business that talks to the same client that allows you to, very much the way I started my company. We started doing silver recovery from x-rays that we were able to sort of get the business, the engine going, get some cash flow going so that we could then create the business from there. So, it's not always about, business loans, VCs. Everybody wants to go to a VC. Usually not a good idea. Most people will not be able to get a loan for their business outside of a personal loan unless they've been in business for 2 years and have a track record, profitable track record. So SBA, there's a lot of misconceptions out. I'm going to go to the bank and they're going to give me a loan. Absolutely not. That's not going to happen. They'll give you a credit card. But okay, that helps. It's helpful. Hey, I can put some stuff on the credit card and hopefully pay it down.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're not going to get a loan. Nobody's just going to hand you a check.
All right. Awesome. Well, we are going to jump into a quick break and we will be right back with Pat.
A wise man once asked, what if starting a business was like jumping out of a plane? And like 76% of businesses, what if 76% of parachutes failed before you reached the destination? What about those of you who have already jumped? Well, you may still have time to check your business. Pillar5.com, where businesses get it right.
All right, and we are back with Pat Meehan with Tech Resource Center, and tonight we are talking about how to start your business with limited resources. So awesome. This has been a great conversation. I have learned so much. I really want to keep this conversation going so much. You know what I'm thinking about, Shanna, but we have Debbie here, and I know I'm going to learn a lot from her conversation. I'm so excited. I always love spending time with Debbie. I'm a fan of Debbie, which I don't like to use that word lightly, but she's just an awesome person. She's just so well-rounded. I have so much respect for what she's done with her life and just how she's chosen to live it. So it's really exciting for me to sit back and see her new adventure with her boutique. So we'll bring Debbie down to hear about her new clothing company, Miss Debbie B.
Hey, hi guys.
Hey. And the host of Find It.
That's what I said. It's funny. The fact that I had the podcast Find It for the last year, and then I say now, well, you can find it at my boutique now.
Oh, nice.
Come please buy some stuff. You can find it there. Well, I gotta say, I'm glad I came on early and was in the back room and got to hear you guys. I'm very impressed with what was said. I actually got up real quick and started taking notes about everything you was saying. I've got notes. I need people like that in my life, right?
Everyone needs someone like Pat in their life.
Oh yeah. Happy to be in this group.
And I don't say that lightly either. I mean, I really learned so much from him in the sessions that we spent together. It was just, it was really eye-opening, and he's just so patient and he's so knowledgeable. And having walked through that and just the way that he's giving back, everyone needs someone like him.
But Shanna, I'm going to come on every week because you're like, I'm like,
it's awesome to be appreciated. I mean, really, it is awesome to be appreciated. But I don't know if you have a significant other or not, but they're going to say, stop telling him that. He's not going to be able to fit through a door.
Yeah.
We're trying to bring her on too, because we want to hear the other side of the story of the business. So, but Debbie, tell us about your new venture. I was so excited when you first introduced it to Natalie and I, and so we want everyone to hear about it, and then we'll talk about some of the challenges.
Well, I'll tell you, my launch was October 1st, and it's all online. So it's different for me. And coming from a gal who has not been very technology savvy, it's been somewhat of a learning. I've been learning this new platform that I'm on, but it's all going very well. It's slow and steady. And it's called Studio 11 Style. And it is all, like I said, all online boutique, but I just really breathed life into this because I had wanted to do this for so long. And I just was afraid of doing it. And it wasn't necessarily online that I wanted to do. I wanted to have a brick and mortar. But as I've gotten older and my kids are grown and they are off doing their own thing, I thought, why do I want to be married to a brick and mortar? I want to be able to do a lot of different things. And as you all know, I do a podcast, and I was marketing director for the city school district in my local community. And, I wrote a book, and I have Find Your Fabulous image consulting, and I do all these different things. And so I thought, no, you know what? I'm going to do an online boutique. And I had a little health scare in the beginning of the spring. And then everything ended up being okay. And I'm not going to get into that, but just know everything was okay. But what that did for me was pushed me out of my comfort zone once again to say, I have this one life. I need to live it. And if this is something I really desire and have a passion to do, then I need to get up off my butt and do it. And and be a figure outer. I don't know how to do an online boutique. So I thought, okay, so early spring, I made it. I said, okay, Debbie, this is what you're going to do. You're going to start this before the end of the year. I'm going to give yourself before the end of the year to go talk to people. Look at the people who are already doing what you want to do. Go to the ones who are successful. See if they'll share some information with you. Do your due diligence so you know what you're doing. And I would watch podcasts, some of your stuff too, and learning about the back end stuff, but also the emotional part of it, where you say, everyone has trouble in the first year, not meaning trouble, but everyone, it might be a slow start. I'm not going to. I'm going to go gangbusters. I'm going to start. Well, what do you think's happened? I started on October 1st, and I've had days where I'm like, oh, no, darn it, and then I have to tell myself again, hey, you know what, Debbie? I know this is going to happen. I will persevere. I just need to continue to move along in this process. So what you're looking at now is the actual Studio 11 style website. So that's been fun. Listen, it's put together. I ended up learning which platform would be best for me. And so when I was in Dallas and I met Shanna and Realsies, I was so excited. I was at this market, and I was buying inventory for this new company. And I had followed this gal that does podcastings for boutiques, and her name is Emily Benson. Amazing. And I've been watching all of her stuff. And one of the things she said, don't go in there blindly and just like, oh, I'll take this, get your budget. And then what is your brand, and pick the stuff out. And so I went in there with, all intentions on sticking to all the things that I had learned. Then in addition, I was going to go, and I did. I connected with a ton of vendors. And every time I would go into one of those, I would say, what would you do as far as platforms are concerned, in your opinion? And those few days in Dallas helped me decide that I was going to go with Comment Sold. And it's just really, it helps push you out there. If you're online, you need as much online exposure as possible. But anyway, I'm loving it, and I'm also slightly terrified. Let's just be real. This is what's happening. So, but the other thing, when I was listening to you talk, what your name again? I'm so sorry. Tom. Pat. Okay, Pat. When I was listening to you talk, and you said, build your business and build your community of people, like you have to be out there. So one of the things that I knew I had already done was slowly did a lot of things over the last several years. As my kids got older, I started investing more time in my future and my now and my purpose outside of being a mother. And so online presence for social media, and then this image consulting business. I had my own page on Facebook that I would, go on and do things. So I already had a nice, like a couple thousand people following that page. So then one of the ideas I had was, okay, I'm just figuring out I'm doing this business, and I'm going to tell them now. I'm on my way. I'm going to start this online boutique. And now not only can I dress you, but I can also dress you in the things that I am providing through Studio 11 style. So they were all excited, and I just continued each day. I tried to give them little, like, here I am, I'm in Dallas. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm figuring it out and I'm getting some pretty stuff. So, kind of like building that up. And I did my email campaign. All of the people that follow me there, I said, if you want to be on my email list and know first what's happening, send me your email. And I just was an influx of women sending me their emails so that they could see when I was going live and how they could get involved. So, I appreciate the things that you were saying. And I was also pretty excited to say, oh gosh, I did some of this. Yay! I was so proud of myself. Yes. It's been a journey, let me tell you. So
a couple of the things that you identified, Debbie, when you filled out the bio, it was challenges with managing inventory.
yes.
And, the technology side of things. And I was so hoping that Terrence was going to be on because he knows all things technology. But I would love for you to, can you expand on the inventory piece? And then Pat, I'd love to hear your thoughts on everything you've heard.
Me too. So the inventory, okay, so just when I told you, I did go in with a budget. Okay, so I did go over budget. Shocker. My husband's like, that's not surprising. But I'll figure that out too for the next time I go to market. I was a little I was excited. So the inventory, so the system that I ended up going with does help me manage the inventory, meaning what I put into it. And as things sell, luckily, this is a part that I don't have to, I do still keep watch of it. Obviously, I got to know when I need to reorder or whatnot. But as things sell, then they automatically, the system, comment sold, automatically takes it out of my inventory. And then if someone tries to purchase it, then they go on a wait list. And then if I decide, from a business standpoint that it's worth me ordering more, I will do that. But I'm trying to train, if that makes sense, my customers on how this comment sold and the online shopping works. It is a little different. They can comment sold with their number and their size, and they get an invoice right in their messenger. So people are confused about that. And so then if something's waitlisted, I'm trying to teach them to do a prior authorization, because I will 100% get it then, because it's really already paid for. But I don't want people to go, yeah, I love that. And then I get a bunch more in, and then they've already chosen something else in the meantime. So I'm working through all of those things. And I learned that through understanding that, I go ahead and get these shirts in again. And then some people bought them and some people didn't. So lesson learned. Prior authorization is where it's at. And then as far as inventory and general, it's me sticking to the plan of making sure that when I have a budget of what I can afford right now, that I stick with that. And then above that, now I have over inventory, not a lot, but I do. And I'm going to have to make sure that as many other things as I like that I would like to purchase, I'm not going to until I either mark down and get rid of what I have, or hopefully sell it. I have to do more live streams. I don't have people coming into my space to shop. So it has to be me putting myself out there. And every single time I do a live stream, I sell.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a back? Do you hear me?
Bit.
Turn myself down a little bit or something. Yeah. So, I'm learning the game of how to balance what I have and when I should get more. So that's kind of something. Now on the technology side, I do have something to share with you that's really cool. And whoever watches this, what I found out was there are a lot of small business grants out there. And some of them have, most of them have some type of rules or stipulation in order to receive the grant. But I was just a recipient of the Ohio State University actually, there was a lady who put me up for it, then called me and said, I thought about you and I wanted you to get this grant, but I think I better let you know that I put your name in there and they're going to be calling you. Is this something you'd want? And I'm like, well, what is it? And it's services. So it's services. There's 3 services I can select from a panel of options. And so I was interviewed and I went through the whole thing and I provided them with what I do and the EIN, you have to do all that. And then they accepted me. And so what I get is what I chose because of the technology part. I want a really awesome landing page as a website to put all the things that is my brand currently on one page, but have Studio 11 style on there too, where it takes you directly to my shopping website. And so they're going to do that, and they're going to help market me for 3 straight months. We're going to put together a plan, and they're going to do a bunch of different marketing, like photography and social media blasts and all of the things to help get me out there. Because I said, you can build the best website for me and it can be so chic and gorgeous. Just like if no one knows it's there, no one knows how great it is. So I need you to help me push it out there because I want to my community have been so good to me. I mean, these women are like, I want to buy something from you. And are you going to get different sizes? Because right now I'm in a certain, I get a run of a certain amount of sizes. But as I grow, I 100% want to do larger sizes too. I mean, I want that. But I want to branch out beyond the borders of my community and be everywhere. And I think it's 9 states now. I've had at least 1 or 2 sales from 9 different states, and I've been putting it on a map and showing people, I got one in Texas, got one in LA. So, and that's fun, but they're going to help me do that. And then the photography part, where if I need, really good quality branding pictures, they're going to do that too. So how amazing. I just feel so blessed,
Yeah.
And so that, and I'm learning, I'll be able to learn from them too on the technology side. Like and then they told it, we had this meeting, there was another person locally that was selected. They said, and if you need help outside of what we're helping you with, you ask. If we can't help you, we will find the resources for you. And I'm like, oh yeah. So it's all working out.
Hey, Debbie, was that the SBDC of Ohio State?
It was the one where you have to, now here, I'm glad you're asking this, and I can't remember the actual name, but you have to have manufacturing. Okay. So you have to, and so I was like, oh my gosh, because I felt like, what do you mean? Like, I got to put a car together. I got to make paper. What's going on here? They're like, no, if you, I know, because I'm like, oh, I'm not going to get accepted for this. But I was already making these little, I was making things for the hats that I sold to sell, in addition, so you can take a hat and make it look different with these different ribbons that connect. And it was something I always did for myself if I wanted to make a specialized hat. So I was already making those, and I have a book. So they said, well, you could make bookmarks. We really want to help you. And I was like, I know, okay, I'll make bookmarks. Then here's the story. Okay. Do you want me to be quiet or tell you the story? Because I feel like Pat has more questions for me. So the Ohio State one, it's something that's with small business manufacturing, something that I can't remember the actual name, is to answer your question. But so what I ended up doing, and this is like, I just feel this is just like the things that have been happening to me since I started this business, and I've made the revelation of living in the moment, appreciating each day, just with even a flash of knowing what could have been and it wasn't. So now that I've been opening myself up to receive, like I've always been a type A, things have to go a certain way. Didn't want to start this business because I didn't know how to do it perfectly. And I'm like, I'm going to fly by the seat of my pants. I'm going to figure it out because I'm going to take action. I'm doing it. So I am. And since I've had that attitude, a lot of things have come my way. Well, then I decided, I found these beads, and they're wooden beads, and I was attracted to them right away. And I was like, wow, those are pretty. And then they said, these are this is wood from the olive trees, old trees, no, trees that were standing were cut down for this, but the old trees in Bethlehem. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, they're beautiful. I love them. And I'm like, I'm going to buy some of these. And I ended up thinking, duh, I'm going to make bracelets. So I started making bracelets, and that was a whole thing, learning how to do that. So I went through a lot of different materials, trying to make it exactly what I wanted. And then my logo from my Find Your Fabulous business, and my book is called Find Your Fabulous, is a butterfly. So I have a butterfly on there. And then my company now is called Studio 11 Style, and I hand stamped in a little gold disc 1-1, and I have that on there. Well, since I did that, so I have sold out of them. I mean, my little fingers have been bleeding. I mean, like 1 a.m. one night, because I had been doing the breast cancer awareness thing. I was doing all this stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're on the wait list again. I'm like, Baden. I'm like, what? I just found David. You got to help Bede. He's like, I don't even know how. I'm like, please, just Bede. So we've been doing that, and but they've been selling like crazy. Then what happened in the last few weeks? Israel, and they're at war, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So thank goodness I bought a lot of beads. I don't know when I can get more. But the thing is, it just seems like that is my unique niche. I mean, I've been thinking I'm selling this. Oh, I love this outfit. This is so cute. I'm going to get this. And at the end of the day, what has been selling out are my bracelets. I mean, selling out. I opened October 1st, and I think I've made 60 bracelets. They're gone. I have people messaging me saying, I want 20 for Christmas. I'm going to get, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get to beading, people. I got to get a little faster too, because it takes some time to do that. But so Pat, when you were talking about that, when I was listening to you and you said the guy with the t-shirts, and he had, this wasn't me planning to do it this way, but the way it has happened is this is my uniqueness. And it's also, I made it. I loved the beads, and I loved where they were from, and I loved what they represented. And then I made this something that I like, and then other people like it too, and the meaning behind it. And I made the beads come with a certificate of authenticity. So I wanted everybody who got the olive wood bracelet to have that certificate. So I had my printer make me a bunch of copies, so everyone gets that. And then I thought, I want Lisa Perna, who is an evangelist, who I know, and she's amazing. She prayed over the inventory and my beads, and it just makes them extra special. I love it. I love and I would have never really gotten into figuring out making something if it hadn't been for the lady who put me up for this grant. And they said, the ribbons for the hats are fine, but maybe make a couple more things. And then that was just kind of put in front of me. So I don't know. It's been a real interesting and amazing, fun experience doing this.
So what's the lesson learned there? I mean, what's the lesson learned there? And I know what the lesson is, but
I know,
I don't know what it is.
Well, let me say this, and I want to know what you think, but there's a couple of lessons I've learned. One is, oh gosh, I'm getting emotional. Oh, what is wrong with me? Woo! One of the lessons I've learned is taking action is better than trying to be perfect, because that's not, and I say this to my kids all the time, being perfect is an expectation you will never, ever meet. So
remember this. Perfection is the enemy of performance.
Yeah.
Right? Remember that. Perfection is the enemy of performance. It really is. If you try to be perfect, you're not going to go anywhere. Not fast enough anyway.
Right.
So that's a very good lesson. But what's the lesson that connects you with the customers who bought 60 bracelets unexpectedly? Why do they do that?
I think they feel my passion, maybe. I don't know.
Or maybe it's the uniqueness, right? I mean,
the uniqueness, like you said, yeah.
It's made out of olive trees. Cool. This is awesome. Yeah. Nobody has that, right? So when you're thinking about your other inventory, stay with that. And the other thing I sort of beat in on what you're doing is
I love that.
the design with the women. Like, women, men too, particularly me. I have my wife shop for me because I'm a horrible shopper, but it's, because I don't want to pick it out. I go into a men's shop and it's like a boutique men's shop, and he's like, oh, you need this, you need this, you need that, you need that. I come out, I got like a $300 pair of jeans on. My wife's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, the guy said it was good, So you have this business where you're sort of teaching women about fashion and finding they're fabulous, and you have this clothing thing that you're doing. Bring them together, right? Bring them together to where, hey, I'll shop for you. You tell me, let's talk about your style. Let's talk about whatever. Tell me what your budget is. And I'm going to show you before you buy it. I'm going to show you what I think I picked out for you. And then you go ahead and buy it and bring it in. So eases up on your cash flow, eases up on your inventory. And it's unique, right? You're unique. Clothing stores, there's a lot of them. The boutiques, there's a lot of them. Find your uniqueness, right? Find that clientele that you're tapping into and make it special for them, right?
Yes.
And you'll do well. I mean, you'll do very well. Look at, they got Stitch Fix. They got these guys out here where they basically pick out 5 things for you and send them to you in a box. And I mean, my wife never sends one back. So I don't care what it is, you buy all of it.
That's awesome.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for joining us tonight. Pat, you brought so much knowledge. Debbie, it's been awesome just to see you and hear more about your business and see you grow. So everybody, the links for the sites have been up there. You can go to Studio 11 to see. I think Carlton had put the link up there for you to go and check out her site. I've gone, the clothes are so cute. And I'll be honest, Debbie, I love seeing you wear them. Because I'm not a shopper. If you guys want to know, the shopper is my husband. So like when I see your stuff, it kind of inspires me. Yeah, we're very opposite in that.
Oh, that's so
I'm like, go live, Debbie. Show us some outfits.
I know. And that's been fun too. Just quickly, that's been really fun because I have a whole bunch of people that will come on and they'll say, I've had messages saying, I haven't bought anything, but I just really like to be. I'm like, come, I love that. Like, and ask questions. And one of the things, and I will tell you this, Pat, and then I'll let you go. I know you got someone else coming on, but one of the other things that I wanted to do because I enjoy it and people are taking to it is when I first start my live stream, I say, I'm going to give you a tip, trick, or something that I buy that I am not selling, but I buy for myself because I love it. And I'll do either like I do this trick with how I curl my eyelashes, or I'll show them, something that my friend is selling, these bracelets, and I love them and they mean something and I want to support her. So and everyone's like, oh my gosh, what's I'll do Celtic salt. It's good to hydrate you and all this. So anyway, I'm trying to just be me, keep myself in it, but also not get really terrified and stressed out when I see a lot of bills coming in and not as much selling going on. You know what I mean?
It's part of the journey. It's just enjoy it.
Okay, I'm trying to stay in the moment, Pat. Thank you guys so much.
All right. Thank you guys. Awesome. So Fitzroy just said he's going to leave and come back. I think he was having some technical difficulties. Why don't we jump into grants if that's okay, Shanna? You want to jump into grants or okay?
Yeah. So this week we've got, there we go. We've got a few grants. These are expiring pretty soon. The Fellows Program, Tory Burch Foundation. I'm hidden behind it. November 2nd. So you have to be a female entrepreneur, 51% owned, 21 years old at the due date. So November 2nd, if you're 21, go ahead and go for it. For-profit business. The next one, Found Her program. This is Native Hawaiian. So you have to be Asian descent, Native Hawaiian. You have to live in Hawaii. So make sure of that. Early stage businesses. So if you're just starting a business and you live in Hawaii and you meet all of the other criteria, go for it. This one expires next Tuesday on Halloween. The other two we've covered before, but I want to make sure tomorrow this one expires. This is a huge opportunity for someone. $5,000 to $25,000 they're giving away. Make sure that you fill out the application for that. And then there was another one that was a micro grant that also expires next Tuesday. That is the Sweet Spot. So check those out. We're going to post those on Instagram for sure. If you need the links, that's where you're going to find them. And that's
awesome. Awesome. All right, let's jump into It's Your Boy. Tonight, It's Your Boy is live. We are in for a special treat.
Can you guys hear me?
It's Boy in the house.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I can't hear you guys for whatever reason. I don't know what's happening with my internet. But I'm live on the show.
I don't know how well this game is going to work.
Exactly. And I have a game for you guys. So you guys are going to have to use the chat because I can't hear anything anyone is saying. Okay. But so I've been listening to a lot of new podcasts recently, and of the new ones, my favorite podcast does a segment, which is a game that they play called Top 5.
We don't play that here.
Essentially how it works is I'm going to name a topic, and then you guys are going to write down. Do you guys already know this?
No.
No? Okay. So I'm going to name a topic. You guys are going to write down what you think the top 5 selections in that topic is. And then after you have your answers, you're going to reveal them. And then I will reveal what the actual top 5 is. And whoever gets the most matches between the two of you wins the game. Sound good?
I'm ready to dive.
Yeah, okay. But you're going to have to type it because I can't hear you.
Okay.
So the topic for today is the top 5 biggest side hustles in 2022. What are the top 5 side hustles in 2022? And while they're thinking about that, for those people watching, you can play with us. So get a paper, get a pen, and see if you can beat their score. Let me know when you guys, give me a thumbs up when you guys have it, because I can't. Okay. All right, let's see. Is the chat gonna load for me? Oh man. I don't know.
Did you put yours in, Shannon?
I'm putting them in now.
Oh, I clearly wanted to beat you.
Wait, did you put it in the private or the comments?
Oh, I put it in the comments.
Okay, I'll put mine in the comments next. Okay.
Because I figured I wasn't sure if Fitzroy could see the private chat.
Okay.
Can you put back up there, Carlton, my 5 answers? Maybe Fitzroy will realize that's what you're doing again.
Can you guys see that?
Oh, there. Now he's in that one. Yes. Okay, hold on. We got to put it over there. Oh, Madon.
Oh, no. I didn't realize
you put it in the wrong one.
Oh, hold on. Comments? Maybe? No.
Okay.
Somebody needs to copy paste that into the private
This
chat,
sucks.
but it's getting dropped too fast.
Okay, I think I've got mine in I can put mine in the private chat.
Yeah, put it in the private chat.
Okay.
Oh, hold on.
Say something?
Okay, can you hear us?
No, I still can't hear.
Okay, they're in the chat.
Just give us the answers, Fitzroy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna call him. Won't that be funny?
Oh wow, it's the size.
Okay, what's the top 5? We put our answers in.
Okay, I see. Well, I only see one from Natalie. I only see.
Yeah, because I
Amazon.
put him in the other chat, and then you made me switch, and I didn't take the time to go over. So I did Amazon, KDP, Uber, Lyft, Grubhub. Yeah, those are the ones I did. Carlton, put them on the screen for you. Ooh, gosh, Shanna, you got some good answers.
I hope so, because I recently looked this up. So, it hasn't been that long since I looked up. No, I looked up side hustles for one of the, so when we were talking about the blogs and stuff, so I looked up side hustles. So
should I call Fitzroy?
I can't. Now we can't hear him. I give up. He's telling us, and we can't hear him.
He's gonna kill me right now. Did you answer?
I was so.
Hey, give us the answers. I can't even hear you on my phone. Okay, just text him in the Dropbox or text me then.
Yeah, we'll just share them on.
Okay, wait. Hold on, go ahead, Fitzroy.
All right.
Put him in the chat or text me.
Okay.
Okay, bye. At
All
6:05,
right.
I guess we'll never know. Stay tuned. Next week, we will give you the answers.
Yes, we'll give the answers and then we'll know who won.
Hey,
All
Pat,
right.
thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
Thank you, Pat. It was wonderful. Thank you so much. I hope we're able to talk more since you're spending all this time with Shanna. We appreciate you coming. Thank you. Really good stuff. So hopefully Fitzroy can get those answers for us. Hey, you guys, I know we are over. You're good, Fitzroy. We still think you're awesome. Don't worry. We will see you guys next week. Hopefully you enjoyed tonight's topic. I thought it was fabulous. Tag someone you know that's in e-commerce and needs this information. You guys know the whole time I'm thinking about how can I get better at my journal business. But looking at the profit margins now, I'm like, maybe I don't want to do that, right? So I don't know, but it's funny when he was talking about it. I'm like, that's how I feel, Pat. But anyways, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you for being with us tonight. Do something today that will help you better your business. Go make some money. And we'll see you soon. Thank you to our amazing sponsors.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts